It just wouldn't feel right if 2023 didn't conclude with at least one more horrible YouTuber apology video, and luckily, Krampus did not let us down, delivering a nice lump of coal under the tree. This had been a year filled to the brim, the cup runneth over, on bad YouTuber apology videos. I was a naive fool to think that we had seen the last of apology videos for 2023, and how wrong was I? In the fourth quarter here, the last week or so of 2023, we were blessed with one more from James Somerton. He was featured prominently in H-Bomber Guy's newest video on plagiarism. I'm sure all of you have seen this video by now. If you haven't, that is shocking to hear and should probably go check it out. And I'm not going to recap the whole video, but I will give you a brief synopsis of James Somerton's role in it. But basically, James Somerton was pretty much caught with his hand in the cookie jar, plagiarizing his entire online content, fundamentally. It also goes even deeper than the plagiarism. He was accused of multiple other bad things in regards to his content and claims he was making, and a bunch of other variety of things. And in response to that, James went dark. He went off the grid, bought a log cabin in the middle of the woods, grew out a lumberjack's beard. He bought a Hoover from, Breaking Bad, and he disappeared. So he went offline, and then a couple days ago posted a surprise apology video going over all of it, which he deleted a couple hours later when it didn't get the response he was expecting it to. But it's been re-uploaded, and I kind of wanted to cover it a little bit just because it feels right. 2023 had so many of these. We've got to usher in 2024 the right way with an apology video to kick us off getting into the new year. So let's take a peek.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry for taking so long to make this video or to say anything. I'm in the hospital. I've been in the hospital for a little over a week.
Call me John Madden because I'm going to walk you through the play in this playbook here. It's called Emotional Manipulation. It's a timeless classic. There is no reason he should be starting this video with this story here. He uses this technique multiple times throughout the video and doesn't really even address the accusations head on. It's mainly a lot of deflection. But what I want to focus on is just how hard he leans on trying to garner sympathy through this. Now, it's always sad to see someone struggling and going through a hard time and contemplating extremely terrible things with their life. But it's not something that you need to be sharing online in this capacity. And it's also not something most people would be comfortable sharing online, especially in response to things like this, because it comes across as very insincere and disingenuous and kind of like using it as though it makes you immune to criticism because now you've gone through this, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much what his whole audience said too. Even the ones that were trying to rally behind him, hoping for a real explanation, this left a very bad taste in their mouth because it's completely unrelated to what should be being talked about, which is his plagiarism as well as the other things he's been accused of. He doesn't need to be sharing this information with us. This is a very private matter that he should have kept private.
I tried to do something really stupid. I'm really only here now because before I did it, I called my dad to talk to him one more time, and he figured out something was wrong and called paramedics or 911 or...
Once again, there is no reason to be telling this extremely personal story to your audience when this is supposed to be a video addressing all of the accusations against your content. It's just the only reason this is here is so that way people can sympathize with him and feel sorry for what he's been going through. And make no mistake, from what he describes here, it's an extremely horrible experience that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. But it has no place in this video. It just comes across as super fucking tone deaf here. Just talk about, if you want to make an apology video or explain your side of things, then do that. And don't go into the private side of what's been happening behind the scenes since the accusations came out.
They got here, and I woke up in the hospital, and Yeah. Anyway, I'm not trying to make this a sob story. I'm just trying to explain why I've been so quiet.
You spent the entire first minute and a half making it a sob story, though. That's not an accident, and you could have edited that out. It's here because you wanted it to be here, to start with immediately trying to get the waterworks going with people crying over how awful this experience is before you get into what's supposed to be your side and your apology over everything. It's just textbook emotional manipulation trying to make everyone feel bad for you, even though you were the guilty party who got caught, and this is you trying to talk about that, and you still haven't yet, even though we're already kind of deep into the video. Now, it is a 34-minute video, so a minute and a half isn't like the bulk of it, but he sprinkles this throughout the entire thing, so you can't really make a good argument that it's only here to try and explain why he took so long to make this video. A, you don't need to explain why you took so long. You really don't. If you really wanted to give an explanation, you could just make it super concise, like, hey, had stuff going on. Or this has been an extremely stressful period of time in my life from all of this, so I've taken some time to process everything, and now I feel comfortable going forward. Like, you didn't need to dive into it like this, and you didn't even need to explain why it took you that long in the first place. And on top of that, he does also still go over these really sad things in his life throughout the whole thing that aren't just there to explain why it took him so long to talk about all of this. So it really does feel like he's trying to emotionally manipulate people with his apology video. But even when he is done going through this story and actually trying to talk about what's been going on, he takes really no responsibility. He does say, "I'm sorry," a lot, but it feels kind of hollow when he starts throwing somebody else under the bus for things and then kind of belittling the whole situation itself, boiling it down to something far simpler than it is. Like, there were a lot of accusations against him, none of which he really defends himself on in any meaningful way whatsoever. It really feels like the main purpose of the video is to make the audience feel bad. Like, make them, like, blame them, basically, for what he's going through, as opposed to taking that responsibility for fucking up with plagiarizing his whole career.
Really, really sorry. Really, really sorry. For the stuff in the videos, not crediting people, and I lost my best friend because of this. Nick and I had been best friends since...
I don't think I really need to show you more of the video itself. You get the idea of exactly how this goes for the rest of the 30 minutes of it. It's just a really baffling decision to post this in the first place, and it's something he recognized pretty quickly when he saw the responses coming in, the Yelp reviews. So here's his community post addressing it. Earlier tonight, I uploaded a video apologizing for what I've done, but it's become clear after hearing from several people that I am not in a healthy frame of mind to be posting anything online. I only returned home from the hospital yesterday, so I should have never filmed it. I've deleted the video, but I'm sure it has been downloaded and will be shared by others online. I promise to apologize properly and in detail when I'm more mentally stable. Until then, please know that I am sorry. He understands that this wasn't a good idea, but insists that he is sorry and will return at a later date to make a better apology video. And I have to say, that doesn't seem like a good idea. Like, I don't understand why he's even going to bother trying. There is really nothing that's going to improve for his online career through an apology. His audience isn't going to stick around through it. They were there for his content, and his content was stolen. It was all plagiarized. Like, there's no reason for them to stay, and it's not something he can just move on for and keep pumping out bangers, because no one's going to believe that it's original work or anything that he himself created. So there's nothing he can possibly gain from even making an apology. He should just do something else that's not being a YouTuber, or find a completely different niche on YouTube to try and make it big in. Like, there's just nothing he can really do for the James Somerton brand here. So I don't know why he's going to try and make another apology video later. It just seems kind of silly to even bother. He doesn't have anything that proves him innocent from the claims. He really was kind of caught pants around the ankle here. It's kind of kaput. Like, it is clear he plagiarized a lot of things, and there's a lot of other accusations on top of that as well from the way he conducted himself and some of the content, like in some of the things he said. And there's really not a whole lot he can do to come back from that and make this big triumphant comeback with an absolute fucking banger apology. That's just not going to happen. So why even do it? Just go do something else, man. Just move on from it. So yeah, I just wanted to cover this a little bit just because it's one more bad apology in 2023. I figured might as well complete the year the only way we know how, with bad YouTuber apologies. Yeehaw. That's about it. So yeah. Okay, let's see the Liver King response. This is, again, a follow-up to the big expose from More Plates, More Dates that revealed in an email that Liver King isn't natty. He was communicating with a coach to get advice on his stack, referring to like the HGH and everything he was cycling, which is a big deal because Liver King has always defended that he's 100% natural. All you need to do to look like him is follow the 9 ancestral tenets. And he has a ton of companies, claims to make $100 million a year, but it's all based on being able to look like him through natural stuff, which isn't the case. So this is him coming out about it. If I had to spitball a guess, I would imagine Liver King takes this directly. I don't think he's going to try and claim it's all deep faked. He's not going to claim it's reptilians behind the scenes of the puppet master that faked the emails. He strikes me as someone who's going to try and take it head on and just hope that the majority of his audience doesn't care. That's my guess.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up.
This is kind of quiet.
Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. I've stated that this is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous, and after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous, and I never expected this kind of exposure.
That was very frank.
In the public eye.
That's what I mentioned briefly in the video. Way before he was the Liver King, he was still super rich. Like, he was still very rich.
Clearly, I did it wrong, and I'm here now to set the record straight. Yes, I've done steroids.
Classic YouTuber sigh.
Yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician. Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves. The 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life.
This is all very sweet and everything, but you deliver a message and then sell products based around the message, of which you just admitted a large portion of it, your physique, is a lie. Now, if you were just like a motivational speaker or just like a normal YouTuber, Instagram guy who delivers positive messages, that's one thing. You being on steroids and everything, that's not that big of a deal. But the fact that you constantly defended being natty and sell all these programs based around it, and then aren't actually the result of those things you talk about, is pretty misleading, which he does admit, but spinning it as this positive thing where I'm only here to try and help all these people who are struggling isn't super genuine when you're making so much money off them. You could still just be delivering that message for free. They don't need to pay for it if your main goal is to just deliver a positive message. I appreciate the very upfront honesty. Yep, I am on steroids. He didn't try and tiptoe around it. He just came in there and spread the cheeks wide open and letting us see the filthy truth on it. That's admirable. But this immediate spin about how it's all for the people that are struggling and wanting to kill themselves, that I don't put much stock into when you're making so much money off of these programs. That's clearly not the main goal when you're very much taking as much money for it as you can. Hey, Charles here with a little post-game aftermath reflection. After watching the video, I get the impression this is more of an I'm sorry I got caught situation as opposed to an I'm sorry I did it. I'm still not 100% sure, but after watching it, that's more the vibe I got. I wanted to put this towards the beginning of the video just to get this out there before continuing with the apology video. And I want to also let it be known that this isn't some shocking revelation. No one heard that Liver King was on the juice and was like frantically Googling for the evidence because they couldn't believe it. Like, pretty much anyone with eyes and anyone that knows anything about fitness realized that his body wasn't naturally achievable. Like, Jesus Christ, just look at his abs. They look like Lego blocks. That shit looks like it's made out of titanium. You could hit it with a sledgehammer and it'd probably just break the sledgehammer. Most people could tell that he had more juice in his body than a Snapple factory. It wasn't a naturally achievable body type, but he always defended tooth and nail that he was natty 100% and he'd never touched HGH, steroids, anything of that caliber. But that's just a blatant lie. And when his whole product is being sold based on this physique that he's lying about, it seems exceptionally scummy to me. Just lying to his audience and getting them to buy into things under a false notion.
And when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no. I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating?
You're cheating your audience. I'm still early, so maybe he comes to that realization since he prefaces it by saying, I convinced myself, past tense. But, like, yeah, you're not competing. You're not going to jail for taking steroids, but you're cheating the people that believed in you and believed in the message about looking like you, or at least something comparable. You are cheating them.
So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole.
True.
I have only myself to blame. I did that.
That is
And
true.
it was all wrong. I will be better. I
Very
will
upfront.
talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician. Nope. The liver...
See, like, had his message... Had he come out from the genesis of Liver King, from the primordial ooze of liver and a king, if he had come out and been like, look at this physique. This is not a naturally achievable physique. I am on steroids. And then started preaching his message, I don't think he would have ever had a problem. He probably still would have found a very similar level. The spiritual pressure of the Liver King was too much for my internet to handle. It took out the entire power grid, so stream cut out there for a moment, so I'll finish my statement here. What I was saying is he would have still found a high level of success if he was just upfront and honest about his PED usage, because he still has an absurd physique. He has a body that looks like 3 Gears of War characters did a fusion dance. So people would have still went to his content for like workout advice and like general life advice, and he has preached some positive stuff as well as some genuinely wacky stuff that people eat up. They love it. So he would have still found an audience while being open about using these HGH steroids and stuff like that. And he wouldn't have had to lie to them and mislead them about what the human body is capable of achieving naturally. But if you're going to say, I'm natural when you're not, and then sell programs under the belief that they too can look like you, that to me just screams like scam. Like knowingly just misleading them. Yeah, I feel like Liver King's just living in the past where everyone was demonized for using PEDs. I feel like in the modern landscape of the fitness industry, like fitness influencers, most of them are super open with PED usage. I think most people know the majority of fitness influencers are on some level of juice, and they're okay with that.
Why did I, or why do I do them?
Well, it's not a
When I
hard
talk
question.
about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. That have shed light on this complicated as fuck topic. I knew I needed to take this opportunity.
I just don't think it's complicated. He's probably being very honest about self-esteem issues. That's very common when it comes to bodybuilding. But it's also not hard to understand why you would take them in his position. He needs to stand out in the fitness industry. Well, how do you stand out in the fitness industry? You need to carve out a niche. Well, with so many fitness influencers out there, it's a saturated market. What niche? How about something primal? Something like very old school. Paleo diet was huge, so why not something even harder in that realm? And I'm going to really need to look super special to stand out. So you turn to enhancements like HGH and everything. It's a pretty like easily understandable reasoning for taking it. Of course, self-esteem probably does play into it because body dysmorphia is so common with fitness. But I think probably the main driver, especially with the emails, makes it sound like it was a manufactured idea from the get-go. I need to get super jacked. I need to be super standoutish. So I need these pretty impressive stack to do that for my business. Seems more like a business decision. But of course, I do imagine he's being honest that there is a self-esteem element to that. But it absolutely, undeniably, was the main reason his brand was so popular.
I am as sorry as a man can be. And all I can do is take extreme ownership right now, be better, and lead myself to a better life as a better human. Again, thank you to everyone for the support, the criticism, the love, the hate, and above all else, the loyalty. Liver King.
I do think he's minimizing the magnitude of misleading people when you run a business like this, because you're selling them a false idea and you continue to lie about it. I think that's a much bigger issue than he's letting on, or maybe he doesn't realize how scummy that is. But overall, it seemed like he accepted responsibility for all of his lying, which is a good start. He didn't try and put that blame elsewhere. He didn't really try and deflect it. He downplayed that quite a bit, but it wasn't a horrible apology by any means. You think he's going to keep using it, or will he quit? And what's your guess on how much muscle he'll lose? He's not going to stop using it. I still think, even though his audience, judging by the comments, is very much on his side, if he didn't look like this, they would probably stop watching. And he knows that, so he's not going to stop. I think he's just going to be more open about it. I think that's the only path forward for him, but I don't see a world where he stops using. You all know how much I love awful YouTuber apology videos, but today I've got something truly special to show you. This is the magnum opus of saying I'm sorry. It doesn't come from a YouTuber either. This comes from a basketball player, and he completely redefined the apology video meta. He made an entire apology documentary. I'm talking about Draymond Green. Now, I don't know how many of you are some red-blooded American, brewski-boofing, patriotic sports fans, but I'm going to break down the situation for those of you that aren't and don't know what I'm referring to. Draymond Green is a professional basketball player, plays for the Warriors, and recently he was filmed in practice punching his teammate after an argument. I can't show the video because YouTube will probably age restrict it for shocking and disturbing content, which it's not. So I'll just paint the picture with words here. So Draymond Green and Jordan Poole are at practice, and then some words get exchanged between the two. I can't read their lips, and the quality looks like it's straight out of 2001 off of a goddamn Motorola Razr, so the quality's fucking abysmal. Don't know what they said to each other, but they were some not nice words being exchanged. Perhaps Jordan Poole hit him with a SpongeBob reference that he didn't appreciate, something like, "Hey pal, you just blow in from Stupid Town." Then Draymond Green gets up in his face. Jordan Poole pushes him off, and in response to that, Draymond Green fucking cranks a mean one and lets a go-go gadget extendo knuckle sandwich fly, absolutely blasting Jordan Poole. I don't think it was a full-blown knockout, but Jordan Poole did hit the ground hard. Like, he went down harder than the UPS delivery driver throwing my packages at the door. But this is where this fight started and stopped. The team separated the two of them, and the video was leaked to TMZ, and this became a huge deal in the entire sports world. Afterwards, Draymond Green did issue an apology publicly, saying he was sorry for the whole situation and how embarrassed he was by it. But clearly he wasn't embarrassed enough, because he decided to shamelessly make a documentary about this whole situation as well. The man made a full-blown, goddamn Michael Moore-style documentary on his punch of his teammate. It's so weird and goofy. I'm going to show that to you now, at least bits and pieces of it. But I also want to let you all know, if you're not familiar with Draymond Green, the guy has a reputation for being a bit of a douchebag. If you just type in Draymond Green hitting players in the nuts, you can watch full compilations of how many times he's kicked other basketball players in their ball sack. He's made a habit out of it. There's one player in particular, Steven Adams. I believe he's kicked him in his fucking jewels 3 times. 2 times in one game, if I remember correctly. So he's got a reputation for being a bit of a dirty player and a bit of an asshole. So this was just a nice cherry on top of that already pretty bad reputation.
On October 5th, Draymond Green and teammate Jordan Poole got into a verbal altercation during practice. The incident ended with Draymond punching Poole in the face.
Yeah, they pulled out all the stops for this one, all the bells and whistles. They got a professional voiceover here, making it sound very official, professional. And you would think most people in general would want to move on from a controversy like this. Just, apologize, put your head down and ignore it, so that way it will hopefully go away faster. But for some reason, Draymond and the whole team that put this piece together really like to roll around in the drama of this, making it a spectacle. I don't know what they thought was a good idea about this, making a documentary to explain the punch. It's totally unnecessary. I think everyone understands what happened here. Draymond got upset and punched his teammate. It's very simple. It's like the simplest story ever told. Yet they're making it seem like a very complex issue with very many moving parts to it that we don't fully grasp, thus needed a documentary to explain it to our little idiot brains here. It makes no sense to me. They're just here trying to squeeze as much milk from this controversy as possible, just grabbing it by the tit to get as much juice from the squeeze as they can.
I think you're initially upset, pissed off, which is why you have the reaction you have.
You don't say. The reason you punch people is because you're upset and pissed off? Fucking truly groundbreaking revelations here. My third eye is open. My mind is being expanded. Just please slow down here, Socrates. We're tackling some very profound and deep things now. You're telling me there's a correlation between being upset and punching someone? No, what?
Part of the process of why did this happen? And walking yourself through why. The different things that can get you to why what took place actually took place.
It's not that deep. I wasn't even there and I can tell you why this happened. Because he hurt your feelings and you lashed out, you had a little temper tantrum and punched him. It's not a confusing situation that needs like a deep explanation. The only question I'd be asking is, why didn't you aim for his nutsack like you normally do?
Now that you process what just happened, now you've processed the why. Now how do you feel and what do you feel about it?
What in the fuck are you even saying? Jesus Christ, you punched your teammate. That's it. I don't think after the punch you immediately went into a sensory deprivation tank to meditate on it and really dig deep into the weeds and figure out, well, why did this happen and how am I feeling about it? Like, did you go immediately and see a psychiatrist or something? Like, what are you going on about here? Jesus. Imagine Jordan Poole. You get punched and the guy who punched you makes a documentary about it. You already know Jordan Poole and the rest of the team are laughing at Draymond Green for this one. And rightfully so. The man is the protagonist of premium cringe right now.
So you get at the time, you give it some time to allow people to throw their opinion out, which quite frankly, I don't care about people's opinion.
Yeah, this really seems like someone who doesn't care about people's opinion. He cares so little about your opinion that he made an entire documentary whining about the situation. That's how little of a fuck he gives about what you think about him. Now please, shed some tears for this forgiveness documentary he's made.
I don't spend much time, I don't really read many tweets at all. And so I was just at home chilling with my children. If you want me to be honest with you, I still don't know how much the world may think it blew up.
Sparked by the leak of the video, the incident did blow up.
The classic, oh, I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't think it was a big deal. I was at home with my family being a loving father, and in fact, I'm one of the best fathers on the planet. I'm not a bad guy. In fact, I was just so preoccupied being the best dad of all time that I didn't even stop to notice that people were upset at me for a video that was taken or something. I don't even know if it was a big deal at all.
I apologize to his family. For me, that is the task at hand, to rebuild trust in our locker room. I felt as a man, I felt as a leader, that I will do everything that I can to make this right.
That's a clip from his public apology when this first started blowing up, and I actually thought it was fine. He said, I'm sorry to Jordan, his family, his team, and then explained how he's going to try and make things right and make things better and get trust back in the locker room. And then a week later, he makes this absolutely insane documentary about the punch. So clearly something went awry there. The first response he had, I think, was okay. He's just like, you know what, I fucked up. It is what it is, and I'm sorry. And now he goes full Hollywood here, sniffing his own farts, and makes a documentary surrounding this punch.
It's on me to make sure we're headed that way. To have clarity, you know what it is, I know what it is. Continue to move forward, put it behind us. It helps, allows you to start the process. And get back to business. That's where I go from here, that's where we go from here.
Gotta love how this video is supposed to be like an explanation for why it happened and a little documentary surrounding it, but it doesn't even do that. It doesn't do the bare minimum. He just says like, well, why did it happen? And it's the process of understanding why it happened, but never even says why it happened. He never even explains why he did it. I mean, everyone knows why he punched him, like we all get it, but this whole documentary was built around the idea of, well, here's his chance to defend himself and give his side of, what happened here and how regretful he is. But it doesn't even do that. But you want to know the best part of this documentary? It says nothing. It doesn't even make a point. It's just like, hey, here's Draymond Green, he punched this guy, and here's him moderately reflecting on it. And then he goes back to practice, and he says it's time to get back to work, and he hopes he could lead the team better now. That's it. That's the whole documentary. Like, it has no purpose whatsoever. It's mind-blowing that this got made, but regardless, that's pretty much where the documentary ends. It's very silly, and I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's a wild set of circumstances here. Making a documentary about your outburst punching your teammate is such a bold move, and yeah, that's about it. So yeah, right now there's a Twitch streamer getting tomatoes thrown at him all across Twitter for a clip that's going viral of him having an embarrassing and horrible response to one of his community members answering a question that he asked them.
In Spanish, and it's chef's kiss. All right. Curvy, where the fuck have you been? Oh my God. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat because it's Friday, and that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And his response is a big barrel of butt cheeks. So to give context to this situation here on the lore, this was a regular viewer of this streamer, an avid supporter who had taken a bit of a hiatus and was unfortunately going through a very hard time with her mother passing. So, when he saw that she was back, he asked her, "Oh, where have you been?" To which she just answered honestly, her mother had passed away, so, it was a bit of a tough time. That's why she was taking a break. And then for some reason, this must have input a cheat code into the streamer's brain that just sent him into, like, debate club. He, for some reason, then just goes into, like, this TED Talk about how you shouldn't answer his question if your answer is something sad, because it brings down the vibes of the stream. It's baffling, because you had asked her, and she just answered your question honestly. I'll play a bit more of the clip before getting into it, but I want to make it clear early on that I understand a lot of streamers have a similar perspective where you don't really want someone in chat that's just talking about like a really traumatic experience they're going through, because it's not really the place for it and the streamer's not the therapist. Like, I do get that perspective, but there's a difference between like just a random person treating Twitch chat like it's their psychiatrist and you asking someone a question and them answering honestly, especially when it's a member of the community that you already kind of know to a certain level. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden getting mad at them for answering that.
And I'm sorry for your loss, but we're not doing that in my fucking chat. Thank you. Well, okay, Miss Dirty Curvy, you said, no, that's fine. You asked, so I told. No, I didn't ask you to tell me the biggest fucking bummer news in the world. I said, hey, what's up? How are you? You know what? Let me give you a little bit of a lesson, Miss Nerdy Curvy. When something really, really bad is going on in your life, and in a public forum, someone asks you, hey, what's up? How are you? There are two acceptable responses. Good, and you know what? I'll make it through. That's it.
So you want to just talk to NPCs that only have two dialogue options. Okay? Then why bother trying to communicate with a human being? Like, okay, give them a script. Make sure your community has the acceptable answer script to my stupid questions. I don't actually care where you've been. Like, just tell me one of these two canned responses. Like, this is so fucking dumb. And I also love the audacity. Let me give you a lesson here on how to handle my questions going forward. It's just so laughable that he's acting like some kind of social savant here about how to handle public conversations and what you're allowed to say. You're a fucking Twitch streamer, man. All of us as streamers are not exactly the most socially gifted. Like, let's just face the facts here. So why are you trying to act like the authority on the matter here, as if you're some kind of social guru who's now giving a lecture to your community about what is and is not allowed in a public conversation? It's fucking goofy. It's very silly.
How are you? Good? Or, you know what? I'll make it through. Awesome. Love to hear it. See, there you go. Or Prom's response. Yeah, I said, Prom, how are you doing? She says, I'm alive.
You know what's just as easy as those two responses is you being able to respond with some level of empathy like, oh man, that's terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, damn, that's awful news, stay strong. Or, man, shit, that's terrible, hopefully today's stream can lift your spirits a bit. Like, you also have equally easy responses to, like, instead of dwell on the negative here and for some reason try and shame her for answering your question honestly, you could have just as easily had a very simple and empathetic response to it and moved on from it. But instead, now you're putting all of it on her and blaming her for bringing down the entire atmosphere, as if she somehow forced you to enter your goofo mode here, your insano style tantrum that you're throwing. Like, it is your fault. You could have either not asked the question if you didn't want, like, real answers, or you could have had some level of empathy and just given, like, a general, decent response like, damn, awful news, sorry to hear that, stay strong. And then just go about, like, a good vibed stream. Like, it's super easy.
Oh, I asked you where you were. Look, Mr. Curvy, I'm just subtly trying to tell you that unloading really heavy news in people's chats on Twitch is not like good etiquette. It's not the place to do it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Heavy news like that, when someone asks, hey, where have you been? You don't need to tell them, well, my dog died, my husband left me for a younger woman, my house burnt down, and my car got stolen. So I've been a little bit busy. That's why I haven't been around. Because it's like, oh, God, like, ugh.
Oh, God, your bad news is making my easy job just a little stressful, because now I've heard your fucking bad news, like, ugh. Like, can you have some level of shame? Can you stop having bad things happen to you and then share it with me when I ask? Like, fuck. God, where do you get off? What a stupid perspective, bro. What are you talking about? That's not even what they did. You asked them a question and they gave a simple response to it. Now, for a little further context, she, in her first response, accidentally led with, like, a laughing emotion. So she led with, like, LMAO because she was responding to, like, a joke he had told and then answered his question about her mom passing away. She got a little concerned that it was going to be misconstrued like she was joking about that. So then she clarified again that, no, like, it's just been a rough time. It's just been horrible. So she said it, like, twice or 3 times in total, but it was never to dwell on it or try and treat him like a therapist or treat chat like it was a self-help subreddit or something. She just answered his question but didn't like her first answer because she thought it might get misconstrued, so then just said, like, no, it's just been bad, and that's where it was. She didn't try and, like, keep pressing it further or anything. For some reason, he did. He took it and ran with it and made it an overwhelmingly negative thing and then shamed her publicly in front of the entire community for it, which is so fucking weird and terrible thing to do. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I do understand the perspective of not wanting your community to treat it like it's like a therapy session where they're dropping really heavy things going on in their personal lives into the Twitch chat or asking you to solve the problems for them. I do agree that that is just not the time nor the place, and that's not going to help the person either. That's not going to help them or anyone else around you that needs, like, professional help and someone to actually be there and qualified to give real helpful advice to that person that's struggling. And Twitch chat is the last place you'd want to go for anything real. So I do agree, like, that is never a good case, like, that's never a good situation to be in, but that's not the situation this streamer was in. He had asked a community member that he knew a question, and it was a personal question. Where have you been? Now I'm waiting for your answer. And they explained, well, it's just been a bad time because her mom had passed away. And that's it. She didn't, like, keep going forward about it, like, to try and, like, make it all about what she's going through. She just answered his question point blank. And for some reason, he went off the rails about it.
Like, you know, like, if someone asks, like, hey, what's up? Where have you been? And it's heavy, just be like, I had a bunch of shit going on, so I've been lying low for a little while. Got it. That's it. I'm not trying to rip you a new ass.
Yeah, not trying to rip you a new ass, just trying to embarrass you in front of the entire stream. The lack of self-awareness here. Buddy, that is kind of exactly what she did, but instead of just saying, I've got some shit that I'm going through, so I was lying low, she said, well, family member passed away, so I was lying low. That's it. She didn't continue to, like, go through the nitty-gritty on everything that happened. She did almost exactly what you said, but was a little more specific on exactly what that shit was. But in essence, it's the same thing. Would you have still melted down if she had said, I had a lot of bad, horrible things happen, so I was laying low for a bit? I don't think so. You probably would have just given a normal, like, decent human response like, man, sorry to hear that. Hope that shit clears up soon. Why couldn't you have had that same level-headed, rational response to her just being a bit more specific with what that horrible thing she was going through was? She didn't just dump everything on you and expect you to like coddle her or do something special. Like, she just answered your question. So this is where the viral clip ends, but he did have a response to this, and it's really worse than you're probably imagining. But before getting to his response, I want to hit you with a bucket of cold water to shock you with some statistics here. 93% of all Twitch streamers pull less than 5 viewers, so anything more than 5 immediately puts you in the top 6.7% of the site. These are old numbers too. These are from 2021, so I imagine this is only grown. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because the streamer who right now is catching more tomatoes than the goddamn Heinz ketchup factory is not a huge streamer. At least not by most people on Twitter's definition of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers, and to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the numbers I'm seeing. Because again, the vast majority of streamers are streaming to actually 0 people. Crickets. You have better luck getting your old high school classmates to watch your Facebook live stream than you do getting found on Twitch and starting a community from nothing. So everyone that's just writing him off as a nobody and fuck small streamers, who cares what they are saying or what their opinion is, I hate that perspective, and I will always hate that perspective. The mentality around numbers is so, like, fucked up these days that they can't recognize how big of a number 55 average viewers is. Like, yes, it's not the biggest streamers on Twitch, but that's still a pretty large number when put in perspective with how big the market is and how saturated it is. But this ties into the bigger point I want to make on the back of those numbers. The market being as saturated as it is, carving out a community being as tough as it is, the last thing you want to do is fuck it up, which is exactly what this guy has just done. He's currently streaming right now with like 140 viewers, which is more than he normally averages, but I imagine the majority of this is hate watchers hoping to just shit on him in the chat. And I've already seen it from a couple of his subs. Some people were saying how disappointed they were in him. And that's a really big deal, because when you have a really tight-knit community, once the viewers start feeling like you don't actually give a fuck about them at all, or that you're kind of a piece of shit, they probably won't stick around because there's so many other streamers that they'll just go to. So this will potentially end up being a huge problem for him. His first response was this on Twitter, where he's just taking full responsibility for being an asshole, which I guess is fine. Like, he's just saying, yeah, I just was a real piece of shit here. But then 12 hours later, he made an apology video and doubled down on everything from his initial Twitter clip.
Firstly, it is well known in my channel that I do not tolerate heavy news, drama, or trauma dumping, if you will, being entered or dropped into the chat. This has been discussed and explained and made clear many times while I've been live over the last 4+ years that I've been on Twitch. The people that come to my channel often, they know this. They see it all the time. So that's something that I want to make sure everyone understands.
He directly blames her for violating his terms of service for being a chatter, basically, saying, I have very strict rules, you're not allowed to kill vibes with bad news or anything drama-related or heavy. Okay, then don't ask questions that could potentially lead to, like, someone being honest with you, man. Not everything in the world is going to be sunshine and rainbows. So why ask a question to your viewers that they might just be open about if you don't want to actually hear it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and why are you blaming her? You're fucking blaming the victim here in this situation. What a terrible look. When you had already in your previous tweet sang a very different tune, where you're like, yeah, this one's kind of on me, I was a douchebag. What changed? All of a sudden now, you woke up this morning and you feel like you're not a douchebag, you're a superhero. In fact, she's the villain because she didn't follow your strict chat rules.
This is not the first time that she's violated the expectation that people not share heavy news in my channel. The frustration from having her argue in chat that she was, quote, just answering my question, even though she's been spoken to about this type of thing before.
Calling this an apology is a disservice to apologies. He is literally just justifying his reaction and saying it's all her fault. She violated our expectation of her in chat and then said she has a history of doing it. And in her statement, one of her twit-longers, she clarifies a bit deeper on what he's talking about. And he's pretty misleading with the way he portrays what happened here. Again, you asked her a question, she answered it. So the quote, "I was just answering your question," is very accurate because that is all she was doing, man.
Frowned upon. Dude, I'm getting follows right now. From Joe JCKS. Brochacho, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. Yeah.
He even acknowledges that maybe he should edit that out and then decides not to. You should have edited that out. That's what a big yikes moment there. In your fucking apology, not an apology, in your blaming, pointing the finger video, you get a follower, take a moment to say thanks for the follow and like just call out the follower during this. What a bad look. How could you not recognize that as a potential problem? But regardless, the actual video he has made here is not a good response. It is somehow even worse than the initial one with the doubling down and trying to justify it. Like, just have an obvious common sense level-headed response like, yep, I overreacted, this was stupid, I shouldn't have done that, I don't even know what I was thinking, I must have just been in a bad mood. Like it was just so easy to move on from this, but instead you doubled down and now you look real silly for it. That's about it. So yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you've noticed I'm wearing the same outfit, same clothes, because it's been over 24 hours since my last shower. I've been busy. What are you going to do about it? Call the stink police? Get the odor officers out here? I'll shower here shortly. Today, we're doing something we haven't done in a long time. We're looking at an apology video. This one I could not resist talking about. It is a shockingly bad apology videos, even when you consider all of the classics we've seen come out over the decade. It's a TikTok creator named Michael Duvall. To summarize a lot of the lore, just dropping you some tidbits on it, Michael Duvall was a preschool teacher who produced OnlyFans content at the preschool he worked at. You'll hear it come directly from his mouth in a moment, but occasionally he would take nude photos of himself in the bathroom and even had a video of him masturbating and ejaculating onto the toilet seat, which apparently had like a training seat on it, like for kids to learn how to use the bathroom. It's fucking gross.
I guess let's just start from the very beginning. And 2020 is when I made my OnlyFans. 21 about is when I met my ex-fiance and we got engaged in 2022. And we also broke up in 2022. But I would say that this whole OnlyFans story starts from when we were still together.
He spends the first 3 minutes here talking about his previous relationship and how it kind of got him back into doing OnlyFans content. He said it was a bad relationship, a lot of bad things happened, felt like he was being forced to do things on OnlyFans. Eventually the relationship ends, and then all of this stuff with the preschool happens. So to me, it really feels like it's kind of not relevant to the matter at hand here, how you got back into the OnlyFans content, when what's actually being discussed here with the preschool stuff was choices you made by yourself way after that horrible relationship ended. So it feels to me kind of like he's mentioning this past relationship as a way of kind of subtly pushing the blame onto his ex for how things got to where they were. It just doesn't seem like it was a good opener here for something that's supposed to be about taking accountability, because it feels like he's immediately avoiding it. It really does seem like he's just serving up a yappy meal and we don't even get a cool Minecraft Steve toy with it.
Now, growing up how I did, it's no shock that I was really excited seeing all this money that was coming in. And so I tried really hard. I posted hundreds, if not thousands of times a day in so many Reddit pages, on my OnlyFans, on my Twitter, just stuff like that. And as you know, I was working as a preschool teacher, technically pre-K, pre-kindergarten. And so I had a lot of free time at work where I would post on those apps.
Posting thousands of times per day is unhinged. Not even those rage bait Twitter accounts that drool on that platform day and night trying to engagement farm for $15 at the end of the week get that many posts per day. That is a crazy amount, especially while at work. How would you possibly, as a pre-kindergarten teacher, think that it's appropriate to just be posting all day on these platforms, and for that kind of content too. That's a fucking disgusting thought process where you'd go from like, all right, kids, nap time, go to sleep. All right, perfect. Now I can make my 300th post a day about spreading my chocolate starfish on this Reddit page, and then I've got to check my OnlyFans to see if anyone's requested me to do a little sounding. Like, that is lunacy. He mentions that he had a ton of free time at work here. I can't imagine there was that much free time to make hundreds, if not thousands, of posts on these platforms. Like, when were you ever even doing your job of teaching pre-kindergarten?
I did go to the bathroom a few times and snap a nude. A lot of the reason why I did that was because I was getting paid by people, and now when I said that, people thought I was getting paid by like I don't know if you can say this word, PDF files, you know what I'm trying to say. People thought I was catering to them, and now with some of those Reddit groups I was in, I should not have been in. They were definitely like dad, son, trans girls. I got kicked out of a lot of groups for like not even fitting the criteria, and it was definitely weird. But when you're in sex work, I don't know. I was just too blinded by the money that was coming in. I know that's no excuse.
Here comes the cold water. It was pedophiles that were paying you to do those things. He keeps denying that, saying that it was, just people wanting to see him do it. It had nothing to do with the location or anything like that. But here comes the truth, like a fucking boxing glove out of a wall to sock you in the jaw. That is exactly who it was, and a lot of people were no doubt paying him because it was in a preschool and shit. He took photos in the fucking preschool classroom he taught at, too. They weren't bare butt-cheek photos and nudes or anything, but he would take photos in his actual preschool classroom with his ass sticking out towards the camera. How are you going to say that you weren't selling these to pedophiles? They clearly knew you were in a child environment doing these sexual things.
So then fast forward to the day I took my first nude at work. I honestly don't remember it, but I do remember that I would get paid like say $45 to take a picture. They'd say go take it, and I would. Now I never did any of this while clocked in. I wasn't allowed to have bathroom breaks like that unless it was an emergency, of course. So when I was in the bathroom, I was upstairs, classrooms were downstairs, I was far away from everyone, in the teacher's bathroom that was locked. That's another thing people are confused about, because they see that the toilets had like little training seats on it, and there was 2 toilets in the bathroom, which was kind of weird. And I think like originally a long time ago, those were kids' bathrooms and we would use them in an emergency, but for the most part, those were for the teachers.
Like a suitcase, there is a lot to unpack here in just this small section, so let's start at chapter 1 here. He claims he never went dicko mode while on the clock at work. He said that when he took those nudes, it was when he was off the clock. Now let's flex our neurons here for a moment, activating 100% of our brain power for a little Jimmy Neutron blast. If you are off the clock, why would you not just go home and take those photos then? Why do them at that preschool? My thought process is the reason he would take the photos there at that preschool is because he knew that that's what people wanted from him. He likes to claim that they weren't pedophiles and he wasn't catering to these fucking freaks. Yet, if he was off the clock while doing this, why wouldn't he have just gone home if the location truly didn't matter? Food for thought. Now moving on to the next piece of this fucking gross puzzle. He says that the bathroom that he would take those nudes in or film the masturbating videos in was the teacher's restroom, which is far removed from the children's restroom. It's on, the upper level, and it was locked, so that way kids couldn't access it. This was the teacher's only commode. Yet, he calls attention to the fact that there is a children's training toilet seat on there, as well as another toilet, like a tiny toilet for kids. And he even does mention that sometimes this still was used by kids in an emergency. He blows his wad, fucking dumps a load onto the children's toilet seat in this restroom. Even if he's telling the truth about it being not during work hours, off the clock, and it is separate from the other children's bathroom, this is still an incredibly fucked up thing to do, and it's very clearly in a restroom that does have child things in it.
I'm not excusing anything I did. There's definitely no excuse, but I do just want to say that it would have happened at that time at any job I worked at. If I was working at the movie theater, still would have happened there instead. It just so happened to be at the daycare, which makes everything so much more worse.
No excuses whatsoever, except for the excuse he's making right now. He's speaking about this like it was some kind of natural disaster, like an unavoidable calamity, like an asteroid hitting the Earth. He's talking like Thanos. This was inevitable. I was going to be stroking my shit till it shot yogurt ropes on a toilet seat for OnlyFans content. It was just a matter of when and where. Could have been a movie theater. Could have been your grandpappy's outhouse. But damn it, it happened to be this daycare that I worked at. Like, what the fuck, man? The audacity for him to try and compare what he did at that daycare to it happening to him at a movie theater, if he happened to work in a movie theater, is a crazy leap. You were a preschool teacher. People were sending their kids to you under the assumption that you were going to educate them and those kids would be safe. And in that environment, you were making explicit content. You were making sexual posts. You were making pornography in the fucking bathrooms, man. That is not even in the same ballpark as if you went into a movie theater bathroom and ejaculated on the toilet seat. It's also crazy that he's trying to say, like, it just so happened to be at that daycare. Goober, you chose that location. You made the conscious decision to film that content and take those photos at the daycare. It wasn't just some random chance where you happened to spawn in at the daycare and had to film it right then and there, or else you would have fucking died or something. You made the choice to film it there. You could have just waited until you went home and did it at your house in privacy, as opposed to doing it at your job at a daycare where children go. Like, I don't know why he's trying to make it sound like, oh, it was just completely, like, it just happened to be there. He did that on purpose.
There's no reason or excuse I shouldn't have waited till I got home. I guess I was just too focused on the money, and at that time I hadn't started my social media career, or maybe I just started it, but I was really focused on the success I was getting on OnlyFans and all the money I was earning, and I used that money to start my shopping vlogs, and that's how I got started on social media full time.
He finally mentions that he could have just went home and did it. He has no reason why he couldn't have just gone home and done it. However, I truly think that he knew what he was making and for whom he was making it for. That's what I believe. There is a reason why these fucking weirdos were requesting him to take these nudes and make this sexual content during his time at the preschool. They wanted him to be at that location for that content. And I really think that Michael Duvall knew that and was probably concerned that if he tried to fulfill those requests outside of the daycare, he would lose their business. He would stop making as much money as he was currently making from them. Now, he does say that it was 4 or 5 posts that people had pointed out, and he has taken down since and is no longer earning any money off of them. But the fact he did this at all in any capacity, even one time, is still just inexcusable.
Being successful on social media. Should I have done it? No. It was gross. It doesn't excuse anything, but at the same time, I hate when people call me names when I know it's not true, or people assume that I was doing stuff that I wasn't doing just because it was at a daycare. Where it was had nothing to do with what I was doing or what I was putting out or the people I was talking to. Those people did not know where I worked. Those people did not care where I work. I remember I did post in some of those groups before, like, I'm a teacher. I was trying to have that shock factor. I was trying to have that thing that makes me kind of different.
A broken record. He keeps harping on this point that the location didn't matter, but he immediately contradicts that by saying that he would even advertise that he's a teacher to these clients as like a shock thing to stand out. So, wouldn't you think that since you have said you are a teacher and they are requesting and paying you to take these photos, that the location does matter? It's not like these people saw you were a teacher and then started paying you to take photos building a rocket ship with assless chaps on. They were asking you to take these photos at the daycare. Like, I really think it should be pretty clear that the location did matter to them. At least, that's what I think. I think that's pretty obvious. That's my opinion on it. I don't know why he's trying to deny that the location was like a selling point to these people when he is actively saying that he would tell them that he is a teacher.
And I know my full story, I know the truth, but that does not excuse what I did at the preschool, and that does not excuse... I also have racist tweets, which I know if I address this, people will bring that up.
Now, this is where his apology takes a crazy turn I haven't seen before. He is breaking new ground, a pioneer in the apology meta. While addressing the current subject, he then gives something else here that nobody was talking about until he brought it up. In the middle of this discussion, he then says, oh, also I have racist tweets. I have racist tweets as well. And it's like, whoa, wait, where did that come from?
Tweets from like 2014 where I said the most insane things. I said things about animals I shouldn't have said, like abusive, not sexual. And I said things about people, groups of people, black people, Asian people. I was very much unhinged and kind of wild as a kid, and I don't want to use the house I lived in as an excuse. There really is no excuse.
This tiny little section here comes in like a surprise post-credits scene. I don't know where this came from out of nowhere. He just brings this shit in out of left field about his racist tweets in the past. And like some things he said about animals in the past. Very odd.
I was also doing a lot of drugs, and I know I said I didn't want to bring up any excuses, but that's just partially why I don't really remember everything. And so seeing it come to light, it's almost like me seeing it for the first time because I've completely shut it out of my mind, blocked it out.
What? So now you're saying you were doing a lot of drugs at the time, so you don't even remember a lot of these things? Little confused here on the plot. Were you doing drugs while working as a pre-kindergarten teacher? Like you were showing up to work high, and because you had done so many drugs, it led you to think it was okay to make that content? Or are you saying you were doing so many drugs at the time that you did that content sober, but then the drugs blocked it out of your mind, like clouded it? I'm a little lost now on what this claim is about the drugs and not even remembering doing a lot of it.
To tell you the truth from my mouth, because I know hearing it from rumors, it can sound a lot worse than it was. I promise you no kids were ever involved. What I did in that bathroom had nothing to do about the building I was in. I know I let a lot of people down, and the people I let down the most is mothers and people with kids and people who thought they could trust me and knew who I was. I just want to say I'm truly sorry. I never meant to make anyone question the type of person I was. I never meant to hurt anyone. I never meant to make those mistakes. And
kind of nuts to me how he says that it sounds a lot worse than it was. Buddy, it was that bad. Like, even all the things that he shed some light on only served to confirm everything that had come out about it. Like, he doesn't really, offer any kind of other explanation that makes it not as bad as people thought. It really is just as bad as people thought. The rest of the video, though, is spent with him saying that he's sorry to mothers and people that he let down with all of this, and he does keep mentioning that the building didn't matter, which, again, he contradicted himself earlier when he said that he advertised himself as like a teacher to these people. So I think it did matter. Like, they were requesting that. Like, I think it very much did matter. He doesn't want to admit it here, but I really do believe that he knew that it mattered. Anyway, though, the apology itself is still just not very good. It is a very interesting strategy to also throw in like the racist tweets out of nowhere that he decided to mention on his own accord. And even though he said multiple times that he's not making any excuses, he does then immediately try and make excuses throughout the apology. Overall, not the strongest apology. That's about it. So yeah. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I'm making this to say that I'm sorry. I was wrong. I fucked up. Last year, T. Martin made an apology video where he almost kind of apologized for scamming 8-year-olds into wasting money on his shit-ass CSGO website, and I called it the worst apology video that could have ever been made, and I was wrong, because Social Repos has blown that shit out of the water with this new humdinger here. So this man right here who looks like Marilyn Manson's asshole is a YouTuber by the name of Social Repos, and he was dating another YouTuber named Jacqueline Glynn, and he cheated on her, and obviously she's very upset, so she made a video about the whole situation to update people, and that prompted him to make his own response to it, and it's fucking abysmal. I'm not going to make the bold claim I did last year and say it's the worst that could be ever given on this site, but damn, you're going to have a hard time topping this one. You've got your work cut out for you if you're trying to make a bad apology this year.
Yeah, I fucked up. I'm definitely going to lose some fans. I'm going to lose some friends. But there's two sides to every story. I wouldn't really call this a defense.
Yeah, you're right. This can't be a defense because there's no way you could defend yourself here. But that doesn't stop him from trying. He's out here looking like the Joker about to deliver a monologue. You want to know how I got this gonorrhea?
So I guess I would like to explain some things. All the brutal graphic details that she explained to everyone. So I'd like to give some very descriptive details of my own. Not to slander Jacqueline or anything, just to kind of, I guess, give you a deeper context.
But why? How could having a deeper understanding of the context provide any type of justification for the cheating? I doubt it was some type of heroic sacrifice where the girl you fucked had a bomb in her pussy that would destroy the city if you didn't defuse it by sticking your cock in there. It really just seems like he's doing this out of spite because Jacqueline went into such brutal detail as he described, so he kind of just did this to try and throw some shit at her that would make her look kind of bad. He actually even deleted her comment on this video. I don't know entirely what the comment said, I just saw a picture of it and I only got a little snippet, but it was her kind of disproving some of the points he's about to make. And naturally, if you're making an apology to someone, the next logical step is then to remove that comment from the person you're apologizing to really let them know that you're sorry.
I do deeply regret it.
Honestly, some pretty shitty acting from him during this arc of the anime. It sounds like some House of the Dead 2 voice acting here.
It kind of was a classic case of social media, showing the best parts of your relationship on social media, so everyone thinks everything's just peaches and roses all the time, and it's just not. It's a lie. We were happy, but there's obviously a dark side to everything, clearly.
I truly have no idea what point he was trying to make with this here. Oh, just a classic case of us showing the best parts. None of you had any ideas I was actually cheating on her behind her back. Just a classic case of one of those things, you know?
Because I did cheat on her, just like I did my ex-girlfriend, which everyone knows about because of our best friend.
I don't really see what there is to giggle about there. Oh, ha ha ha, you guys remember when I did this last time? Thanks to our best friend that blew that case wide open. Ha ha ha, classic best friend. Yeah, I betrayed a lot of people. Ha ha ha.
I met Jacqueline, and she was perfect. She was an atheist. I don't know, she cared so much about me and just everything that I did, and I did care about her. And I don't know, everything just made sense.
I cut a few things out here, but it really served no purpose. I don't even see why he would talk about it unless he was really trying to stretch this video past 10 minutes for ad revenue, which could be an incredibly douchebaggy thing to do, but I wouldn't put it by modern YouTube creators. What he was saying is he vowed never to have another public relationship since he cheated on his last girlfriend, but then he met Jacqueline, obviously had a public relationship, and he also talked about another promise he made a while back where he said he would never ever cheat on anyone ever again, and he was wrong. Just like my father when he said I would be 6'5" when I grew up. My dad is 6'5", my mother is 5'2", so luckily I split the fucking difference and I'm 5'6", so I'm really short for a 23-year-old man, and it really fucking sucks. Why couldn't I be 6 foot, Dad? Huh? Why couldn't I at least get close to your 6'5" towering Chad height? But anyway, I love this line from Social Repos. She was perfect. She was an atheist. What a low bar of entry to being perfect in this man's eyes. In this moment, I am euphoric because girl atheism. Yippee. Fucking, I don't know anything about these two, and I'm sure Jacqueline's a great girl for a lot more than just being an atheist. I imagine there's gotta be a lot more to somebody to make them perfect than just being a fucking atheist. But for some reason, this man cares so little about her, he couldn't think of any more good qualities other than her atheism. That's just fucking sad, really.
And she kind of took me on with the thought that she could fix me, and that, you know, there's a lot of good parts that she saw in me. And you know, I commend her for that, but at the same time, you know, everyone did warn her, and...
What an ironclad defense, fucking bulletproof. Jacqueline, you knew what you were getting into. People warned you. You should have expected this from me. You knew this was going to happen. You shouldn't have been surprised. You knew I was going to put my small pee-pee into other lady buttholes. This shouldn't have come as a surprise. This is your fault. It's incredible. He kind of just blames her for this whole thing happening. You should have expected it. This was going to happen, and people told you.
Unbalance in the relationship even early on, which terrified me, and I could never bring it up to her. All the way, we dated for 11 months, and I could never talk to her about it just because I was so afraid, because she got so attached to me so quickly. She was just, it's almost like she just, after month 2 or 3, she was like ready to settle down with me and ready to get a house, and it just seemed so perfect, and I was like, what are you doing? What do you...
From the comment Jacqueline left, the snippet I saw, this is the part she was disproving. Apparently this wasn't a thing that happened. It was him that brought up the idea of moving in together or some shit. It doesn't really matter either way who's right or wrong on that subject because this point is just moot. It serves absolutely no purpose in this video. It looks like this man's skin is about to fall off of his fucking body here. He's like a reptilian shedding here. His flaky, dry skin, I think he's suffering from extreme psoriasis or something, but this man needs some moisturizer ASAP. His face just must be made out of paper mache and it's starting to crack now.
I just would like to say that I'm sorry to anyone that looks up to me or that follows me.
Well, I'm glad you've apologized to the misguided teenagers that for some reason think you're a good role model. That's very nice of you. How about an apology to Jacqueline? At no point throughout this entire thing does he say, I am sorry for what I did, Jacqueline. I didn't hear that phrase. If you're gonna apologize, fucking apologize. Here, take some notes to any of you out there that may have fucked up and are thinking about doing a YouTube apology video. A, don't do that. And B, if you really feel so inclined that the Lord has chosen you to make this great apology video, then do these things. Actually apologize for it. Say you fucked up and you're going to work on fixing it. Tell how you're going to work on fixing it. And again, apologize for the fucking thing that happened. This man goes on a 10-minute rant about shit that doesn't matter. The next part of this he talks about is content on his channel. Why? What is the point? The video is supposed to be an apology to Jacqueline about what happened. I cut a lot out to this point, but basically he drew the conclusion that he shouldn't be in relationships, he's not good at them. He also speculates that maybe he has a sex problem and should get help, but then says he doesn't believe in getting help. So about 9 minutes of this 10-minute video are just empty, useless words. He could have bent over and just farted into the camera for 9 minutes and it would have had the same impact of the shit he talks about in here. Fucking useless.
And it's clearly I'm a careerist. I'm so deeply entrenched in social repose just as an entity that it comes first. It comes before all my love and relationships and even family to an extent. This is my life. I've chosen it, and I put my all into it.
Oh, you poor hero. All the sacrifices you made to make mediocre YouTube content. Goddamn. My hat's off to you, social repos. If only we Cro-Magnon understood what it meant to be in your shoes, all of the women you've had to fuck behind your girlfriend's back. Damn, we would have so much more appreciation for the art you create here. You certainly are an expert careerist by cheating on a YouTube personality that's pretty fucking big, and then taking all of this negativity to your channel, losing a lot of subs. Man, you've really got careerism figured out, social repos. Take notes out there, any up-and-comers. This man's got it down to a science.
I'm a little hurt that she kind of broadcasted everything. I'm not hurt that she talked about the cheating. I knew she would have to talk about that at some point, but to go into such graphic detail feels a little unnecessary. But it's out there, so.
Oh damn, now I feel bad. He's hurt that she talked about it to such an extent. I mean, there was a set amount that he was okay with and that he would have given his blessing to, but to go past that, that's a bit disrespectful, Jacqueline. You really hurt his feelings with this. I hope you understand. And honestly, he made such a convincing argument, I'm convinced he's the victim in all this. Jacqueline made it all public, and it really hurt his reputation.
Yeah, I guess I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let you guys down. I'm going to do better. I'm going to make more art and more music, and if you don't want to follow me anymore because you think I'm a shitty person or because I'm disgusting or because you can't stand the thought of ever watching me again because of what I did to Jacqueline, I can't make you stay, but I promise you I'll do better with my videos and my content, and I'm
Once again, just apologizing to the audience that found out, not to Jacqueline, but at least he's promising to do better with his content, so I'm looking forward to his Minecraft Let's Plays that he's going to steer towards. And yeah, just overall an absolutely atrocious apology here. I cut a lot out, but there was a big rant about the content on his channel and how he was unsatisfied with it, so at least he understood what the big issue here, which was his content starting to slip up, not the cheating. That was just secondary. It's really all about the content, but he's promising to do better content, so yeah, that's about it. This guy seems like a big douchebag to me. So yeah. YouTuber apology videos are always highly entertaining, but I've got something especially wacky for you today. It's not an apology, this is a YouTube response video from the head of a crypto company that recently found itself in some hot water after the iShowSpeed stream from earlier this week. For those that don't know, iShowSpeed is a huge YouTuber who did an entire stream earlier this week dedicated to shilling for a very shady crypto company called Paradox Metaverse. Since then, Speed has apologized, called it a big mistake, and wants to move on and learn from the experience. And I'm not here to tell you how to feel about all of that. That's up to you. I'm not Speed's PR manager or anything, and I'm not really here to talk about Speed. I'm here to talk about that company because the head of it made a response to all of this, and he just pooped out the shittiest shit I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible. This grown-ass man sat down to whine and cry about all of the people calling it a scam just being trolls and bots. He blamed the entire thing on like a cyber terrorist attack from bots trying to bring down his company. Or if they weren't bots, they were trolls that were influenced by the bots calling it L scam. And then he provides no evidence to prove that it's not a scam, and instead just says, if we were a scam, why are we still here? We wouldn't be here if it was still a scam. If this was a rug pull, why hasn't it been rugged yet? He then issues a Galaxy Brain challenge to everyone to find a part in that stream where he said it was a scam, where he admitted it was a scam. And since you can't find a spot where he said it's all a scam, then it can't be a scam, obviously. Checkmate. I'm not even kidding. This is actually points that he's making in his fucking response video. It is so embarrassing. Where's their response video, though? I don't see that anywhere on here. That'd also be a really bad idea for them to post that publicly.
43 minutes into the video, we had on average 40,000 viewers.
That's just speed.
Comments-wise, we had around 5 to 10,000 comments. We had 2 huge spikes. The first one being when we introduced fake Ronaldo into the stream. 3 minutes.
What does it have to do with anything? He's going to make the claim that these 2 spikes... Fuck, where'd they go? He's going to make the claim that these 2 spikes were when bots came in to say L scam. But what he fails to realize is the reason there's these spikes is because more people decided to type L scam when they realized how shady, shitty, and dog shit this whole thing was. It's not bots. These clowns have been very vocal about it being bots that were saying scam. Nobody else, everyone else loved it. Like the actual people with a pulse, they loved it. Everyone saying that it was a scam is a bot. They can't wrap their head around, no, people just realized it was a fucking scam.
We had 2 huge
So that's why
spikes.
he's showing that, because he's going to make that
we
claim.
are just as much of a fan of Aisha's speech. No comments suggesting that we are a scam. There was just W's in the chat all the way around. What happened next?
That's just because of speed. Again, the reason there are W's in the chat is because it was a speed stream. And everyone spams W's in the chat for speed. But the more that you went on about Paradox Metaverse, the more obvious it became that this is all just shilling for a dogshit crypto scam. So then people started saying, L scam. You started making calls to action for Paradox Metaverse to go follow the Twitter account, playing the game. So it made people more aware of it, and then starting to type more for it.
It's caught us all by surprise. This is when the first cyber attack happens.
It's
This
not a
attack
fucking
lasted
cyber
4
attack.
minutes.
Holy shit, this guy's talking like Jack Bauer at CTU.
After the 4-minute attack, all the comments went down, as you can see here. Guys, this is very unusual. It's clear to see that he was botted.
You know what else would cause a spike like this? Let's say Speed went on stream, everything's normal like this, and then he fucking beat a man to death in cold blood. There would be this huge spike then too, and it wouldn't be bots. It would people say, holy shit, what the fuck? L Speed? Murder? Like, it'd have a spike then, too. The reason the spike happened is because you had more egregious calls to action, like following the Twitter, so people started putting out that it is a fucking scam and this is shady.
It's clear to see that he was botted.
No,
Nobody in the chat
Christ.
meant what they said. That anybody that was watching that live stream, they started falling for it. They started thinking, okay, somebody knows something we don't. So started pushing out the narrative that this
This
a
is
scam.
so
Some
embarrassing.
people
Even as like a Paradox buyer, like the community for Paradox Meta, you have to see this and you have to be having your red flags go off. Like, this has to trigger your own red flags to see that your CEO is so weak and so insecure that he's writing these things off as bots in pure delusion and cope, calling it an attack. Like, in the crypto space, you have to be smarter than that. Like, you would know the bare minimum about how shit works. What he should have done is just say, the Speed audience wasn't ready for it, they didn't see the vision, so they all thought it was a scam. And you know what? We missed the mark. Now they all think we're a scam. But we're not. But he's not doing that. Instead, he's placating. He's putting this on some invisible enemy that doesn't exist. It's not bots. Now he just looks really weak to even his own community. He looks so insecure.
actually decided, you know what, this is actually funny. Let's troll the person we look up to the most, that we tune into every single day.
The guilt trip.
Entertains us for free.
classic.
Doesn't ask for anything in return. Guys, please listen very carefully. It's very important.
Our crypto exchange is worth $40 billion and has sent us a picture saying, why is ISO's comment saying scam coin? $40 billion. We spent $10 million on this project, and every single person in the comments is saying scam because we are getting botted. Please do something. We're going to lose. Listen, Twitter giveaway.
Guys, what you have just heard is the aftermath of being completely botted. Scam. $10 million of my hard-earned money that I've worked so hard for.
What is that even supposed to prove? You still believing it's bots, refusing to accept the reality of things, that people see through this garbage. Like, this doesn't prove anything on your innocence. It doesn't. All this proves, and if you played it longer, is that you asked Speed to shut it down. You asked if he could disable the chat. So you're taking away the people's voice. Which makes you look bad and goes against your fucking stances on things. Like, if you played it further. Like, it doesn't prove anything anyway, even if you take out that part. It is not evidence. It's nothing. It's literally nothing.
Into this project, into this business. And the fact that I'm going to lose it all because everybody is labeling it a scam.
Yeah, well, at least you still have your stupid fucking university. Like, you have plenty of other scams that you can hustle on too, man. Like, you don't need your sob story. 10 million to you is nothing. You made a whole video with money kicks showing off your rented car collection. Like, you have plenty of money. Like, you're got a ton of other ventures that I'm sure you can pull from.
At no point did anyone say we are going to scam anyone. Anyone with half a brain cell can see this with their own eyes.
Yeah, anyone with half a brain cell can see that just by looking at our product real quick and seeing all 7 of our companies that promise things like $500 a day and 10 to 100x returns. Oh, and also the same guy who can't follow through on his bet, where you bet that the Paradox Meta will open to at least like 20 or 30, and if it doesn't, you're changing your name to CoffeeZilla. It opened to 9 cents, and you didn't change your name to CoffeeZilla. But here, let's take a peek at the game that you were so proud of. Man, that really does look like something that is the future and has a lot of work put into it. Using so many assets, so many fucking standard packages in the what is this, the Unreal Store? I can't remember. Yeah, wow, this really does look like a lot going on here. Something that could absolutely be thrown together in a matter of minutes. And a game that I'm sure we've probably played before on Steam Indie New Release Night when we go through shitty games. They're called asset flips. There's nothing here that screams, whole team, passion project, we're in it for the long haul with this project.
And what was the label? I Show Speed promotes crypto scam.
Yep.
Guys.
He did.
Listen to the audio yourself. Go over it again and again. Mention to us once when we said we are going to scam people.
That's such a non-point. We never said it on that stream, so it can't be true. Prove that we said it's going to be a scam. Do it, pussy. Where did I say it's a scam? Anywhere during that stream.
Is the person you want to label a scam, or is it that you just want to associate I Show Speed with a scam? This is cancel culture at its finest.
Oh, hitting all the buzzwords, all the boo-hoos, the cancel culture. Don't launch a shitty, shady crypto. It's that simple. Your crypto, your Paradox Meta has like 7 components, all of which make no fucking sense and are literally just actual dog shit.
He was not getting done. Everything that was getting done in front of your eyes, no one had an issue with up until we got spammed.
That's actually not true. The smashing, like, you're already wrong. The smashing of the PlayStation 5's gotten a huge influx of L speeds. Chat immediately turned against him with the smashing of the PlayStation 5's. So, I mean, you're just not even right there either. It wasn't just L scam, it was L speed for smashing PlayStation 5's.
There was no evidence, there was no substance. If we was a scam, why would we still be here?
These are such non-points. If we were a scam, we'd be in jail right now. We wouldn't even be allowed here right now if we were a scam.
How is this fair? There's a video. We're going to play the video. This video is
it mine?
Crying every single day, in tears every single day. But he still manages to continue with his live stream. Just to please his fans. And you guys took it upon yourselves to think it's funny to just troll people. You guys don't understand the stuff that comes after this trolling. On camera, everyone has to smile. Nobody can show other people their fears. Off camera, could you imagine what he's going through? Because we do. We know exactly what's going on.
You're not his fucking friend. He already threw you to the wolves. Why are you still sucking his dick? Speed, like straight up said, yeah, this was a mistake. Like, he at the very least has moved on and said, yep, that was bad. Yeah, that was bad. And yet here you are like, oh, we are there. We are holding him in our laps as he is crying profusely, uncontrollably, because of what you guys have done to him.
He is not ready for what the world is accusing him of. And he doesn't know how to respond. So I'm taking it upon myself to respond on his behalf.
Oh, this is so sad now. You staked the rug pull on a 17-year-old's audience. It didn't pan out. He has now wiped his ass with your whole company, and you are still here begging for that audience to accept you by pretending like things are, like, close between you two. Yikes, that's embarrassing. Jesus Christ, man, have some shame.
Please stop this hate. It takes very little to just be nice. Rather than just...
Calling out a scam isn't just needless cancel culture hate. That's just not what it is. This is so sad. This is so fucking sad. This is a grown man. This is a very, very wealthy grown man.
You can see, us as founders, we do not even have access to our own tokens.
I literally don't think there's enough numbers that exist to show how many claims have been made exactly like that, only for them to get rugged. Everyone that bought in. That is the number one claim that every crypto makes. No, founders are fully out there, very transparent. They don't even hold any. And they couldn't even get in there if they wanted to. In fact, we have protocols in place to prevent that from happening. And then bang, rug pull. Every single time. Like clockwork. Literally every single time. Still my favorite to this day, there was a Twitter account called War on Rugs, which was a Twitter account dedicated to showcasing and warning people of rug pulls in the crypto space. And then eventually, they rugged their own community. So they had their own coin as well. And eventually War on Rugs was like, yep, we're taking. So they made off with millions, and they made a post saying, you guys should stop blindly trusting people like this. And still, people buy into shit like that. It's crazy. That is a nothing claim. Everything he has said so far is actually nothing. He's provided no evidence to prove that it's not a scam. He has provided nothing other than trying to guilt people and saying that it's all just bad faith trolling.
We'll make sure we'll see you guys on the moon.
Nice, that's so huge. That was awful, holy fuck. That was a big one. What a masterclass in how to say absolutely nothing. Nah, part 2 might clear up everything. Even burning their founders' tokens they can't even cash out for a whole year. That shows passion and confidence in the project being 10,000, 100,000% legit. Oh, fuck me. I hope that's a bot. I hope that's not a real person. Yikes. Oh, fucking yikes. The comments aren't really on his side either. I really do wonder what the Paradox community thinks of a move like this. But I'm not going into their Discord to find out. Usually it's just a lot of people convincing themselves of absolute nonsense in order to believe that they can make money off of it. And then when it doesn't happen, they just pretend like, oh, they just got fooled by someone who was just too smart, even though the writing was on the wall right in front of their face the entire time. Everything he said is things thousands of scams in the space have said before him. He just copied their playbook. Well, I never thought this day would come. A YouTuber just made an apology video worse than Sienna May's iconic interpretive dance. For those that don't remember, Sienna May was a TikToker accused of sexual assault, and for some reason she marched into the mines of Mordor and hatched the most diabolical plan of all time, forged the worst video apology ever, where it was an interpretive dance apology. So she starts fucking boogieing out there, doing some of this, a little bit of these, and by God, I'm ashamed to say it, but she even did some of this. Just kind of downplaying the entire situation. And keep in mind, it was sexual assault accusations that also had a video as well. So there was a ton of evidence, and she still just tried to do like an apology interpretive dance. I did not think there would ever come a time that someone makes a worse response than that. But hooey, how wrong I was.
Hey, it's been a while since you saw my face. I haven't been doing so great, so I took a little break. So a lot of people are saying some things about me that aren't quite true. Doesn't matter if it's true though, just as long as it's entertaining to you.
That bleeding in your ears is normal. This is a ukulele apology video. She's turned her accusations and her response into a Disney musical number here, I suppose. She's got a whole little Broadway moment here to sing and talk about it. Now, before getting into it, let me give some context on what she's apologizing for. Colleen Ballinger is most known for her Miranda Sings character. If you've been on YouTube for a long time, you've definitely heard that name before. She was a massive superstar on the platform. She even had her own Netflix show. And recently, another YouTuber named Adam McIntyre has really started to spearhead this information about her past and everything that's happened to them, as well as the group chat that she used to have with a lot of her fans that were minors, and the way she conducted herself. She's been accused of like asking for ass pics from her fans, and again, most of these fans were minors at the time. She'd even send really weird videos to them. It's just, there's been a ton of evidence of very unacceptable shit, so she's been accused of like grooming as well as being a predator, and this video that she made is her response to those very serious allegations.
All aboard the toxic gossip train. You're chugging down the tracks of misinformation. The toxic gossip train. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station.
Nah, she's giving us a one-way ticket to defecation station, because this is some shit here. I don't know how she thought this was a good idea at all. She doesn't even disprove any of the allegations, she just calls it the toxic gossip train, like it's some kind of little musical number out of Magic School Bus or something that she's not taking seriously. In the face of very serious claims, she decides to put on the entire clown outfit and grab her trusty ukulele and go to battle. But it's not really a battle because she doesn't even really tackle any of the claims. She doesn't refute anything or defend herself. She just makes a song.
Toxic gossip train. Tie me to the tracks and harass me for my past. Cause rumors look like facts. If you don't mind the gaps, I won't survive in the crash. But hey, at least you're having fun.
I'm sorry to keep pausing this so frequently, I just have so much to say, and trust me, I'm really doing you a favor with all of these breaks here to give you a brief, like, respite from the fucking unbelievable cringe. Like, this is some pure, undiluted, unhinged delusion here. This is so strong, I feel like it needs to be added to the periodic table, like the element of delusion that she is displaying here. Like, this song is fucking haunted, honestly. This is like that track out of Courage the Cowardly Dog with Velvet Vic, where, like, sucks you into the record player. That's this song, but it sucks you into a group chat where she's, like, asking about your first period and asking for ass pics or something. But the reason I'm pausing it here is because this is something she falls back on a lot in the song, and I don't want to just keep playing too much of the song. She seems to think that a lot of people are taking pleasure in watching all of this and says, like, oh, it's all untrue, but you're just doing it because it's entertaining and you're having fun. I've never fully understood that perspective because I imagine most people don't have fun learning that people they grew up watching or people they were at least aware of being a big influence turned out to be absolute fucking scumbags. Groomers, predators, all these horrible things. Like, no one has fun with accusations like that, I don't think. Certainly not the victims of it. The victims of Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger here, definitely aren't having any fun here. This has been mentally damaging shit that they've carried for a long time. Now, I do think there is an argument to be made about, like, YouTuber apologies as entertainment. I made a whole fucking tier list on it. There is an element of fun to watching a completely disconnected from reality weirdo do something like Miranda Sings has done with this fucking singing apology. It's hard not to point and laugh at the absolute insanity of that situation. But in those cases, no one's laughing about the actual allegations. Nobody wants someone in a position of power like Miranda Sings, Colleen Ballinger, to turn out to be a groomer or a predator.
Hi everyone. I've been wanting to come online and talk to you about a few things. Even though my team has strongly advised me to not say what I want to say, I recently realized that they never said that I couldn't sing what I want to say. So.
Holy shit, she's done it. She's activating 100% of her brain. What an incredible loophole. Checkmate, lawyers. Her legal team must have been there like, no! She got us. How did we not think of that? We never said she couldn't sing it. Damn, she's good.
Many years ago, I used to message my fans, but not in a creepy way like a lot of you are trying to suggest. It was more of a loser kind of way, where I was just trying to be besties with everybody. There were times in the DMs when I would overshare details of my life, which was really weird of me. I haven't done that for years, you see, because I changed my behavior and I took accountability. Let's go on the toxic gossip train.
If you have anything to refute the claims, why don't you present it instead of doing your little talent show ukulele act? She's saying that this video, in the beginning of the song, she's saying that she's only going to be talking about the facts, and then provides nothing. The facts must have been out of town during the filming of this, because she does not present them at all. She doesn't provide anything to refute any of the claims. All she does is say, like, no, that's all wrong. Those aren't the facts. You guys are falling for the toxic gossip train. Misinformation super duper station. Whatever. Like, she doesn't actually provide any evidence, any counterpoints, nothing. All she does is just say that it's a lie. That's it. And I guess you're supposed to take her at her word because she's singing it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. This is just invalidating to all of her victims. Like, she is, like, actually, like, laughing in their face with this video, I feel. It's pretty disgusting, actually. I don't understand how she thought this could possibly be perceived in any meaningful, positive way. Because, again, she doesn't defend herself. She doesn't refute any of the claims of all of, like, the grooming accusations. If she thinks that all of this is overblown or incorrect, why wouldn't she come forward with her evidence to support that and say, like, nope, this is where all of this is wrong, this is where it's false, this is where you've been lied to and manipulated. She doesn't do that. All she has here is this dumb little fucking song. I just can't even wrap my head around the thought process.
In all seriousness, I do think it's really important to hold people accountable for their mistakes. We should hope that everyone can learn from their mistakes and grow and change their behavior and be a better person. And this is something that I've always tried to do when I make mistakes, and it's something that I will continue to try to do. What? Oh, you don't care? Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to take accountability, but that's not the point of your mob mentality, is it? No. Your goal is to ruin the life of the person you despise while you dramatize your lies and monetize their demise.
Once again, this is just like shitting on the victims that have come forward. There are tons and tons of messages as well as videos, like just an overwhelming amount of evidence that's all pretty damning on Colleen Ballinger's behavior from these group chats, as well as just a lot of other things over the years. And in the song, she just reduces that to, it was just a weird loser sending cringe. It was just a goofball doing loser weird stuff. And then still has the audacity to sing about how she's taking accountability? What the fuck? That's the opposite of accountability. You're minimizing, downplaying the very real harm you caused to your underage fans through these group chats, these interactions, and all the shit that you said and sent. That's not taking accountability. You are literally doing the exact opposite by saying, like, it's really not that big of a deal, it's just kind of weird, that's all. And then she goes in to just say about, like, this is just directly shitting on the victims. She goes then into the next part saying that the reason there's a mob mentality is because they're coming forward with all of these lies to monetize her demise because they don't like her. Well, Colleen Ballinger, let's supersize the McDonald's fries here. You're fucking insane. What are you talking about? How could you even, like, actually put this out there? I don't know how she could not only write this song, perform this song, and this is definitely not her first take, so go through this song multiple times, edit it, and then post this without realizing just how... I don't even know the right word. It's like almost downright evil she comes across. Because, again, this is like spitting in the face of all of the victims that have come forward with a ton of evidence against her, saying it's not a big deal, they're wrong, they're just doing it for clout. It's so sickening.
Yeah. I feel like I can already hear the comments on this video. She's gaslighting, manipulating. Oh, she's a narcissist and a rat. I would never make a mistake like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that all of you are perfect, so please criticize me. Bring out the daggers made from your perfect past and stab me repeatedly in my bony little back.
This is gonna come as a surprise, this is gonna be shocking. But yeah, most people aren't making mistakes like this. This isn't one of those like whoops-a-daisy mistakes that everyone makes in their life. Most normal people are going to go through their life without ever doing anything close to what you're accused of doing. Talking sexually with minors in a group chat, sending used underwear to kids. The list goes on, and she beats this point home about like how she's just made like a little mistake here and it doesn't make her a bad person. But this is, again, one of those mistakes that like actually does make you a bad person. This isn't like a little mistake. Like, she makes it sound like, oh, you don't have the right to criticize me because you're not perfect, your past isn't perfect. But most people's past isn't exactly one that's plagued by degeneracy like this. So, no one's perfect, of course, but that doesn't mean that people don't have the right to criticize you for just how ridiculously awful the shit that you are accused of doing is, and also how terrible this response is.
I'm sure you're disappointed in my shitty little song. I know you wanted me to say that I was 100% in the wrong. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna take that route of admitting to lies and rumors that you made up for clout.
Once again, just hawking a big fat loogie in the face of every victim that came forward here. If these are all lies and just rumors, why don't you prove your side of it? Why don't you provide any evidence beyond just a song that says things without showing things or proving things? There is nothing presented here that refutes a single claim at all. She's just singing things, and that's it. That's not evidence. The video and song goes on for like another 4 or 5 minutes, but she just keeps saying the same thing about how it's all lies and manipulation, but she doesn't prove any of that. Why wouldn't you want to like actually clear your name? I don't know what she thought this song would do. It doesn't offer any kind of explanation for anything to clear up what she's calling lies and rumors. It's nothing. There is mountains of like actual messages and videos of her engaging in very, very bad behavior, very awful things, which has led to people labeling her things like a groomer and a predator, which she really doesn't like, but that's what all of these documents lead towards, point towards, and she does nothing to refute any of it, except make this absolutely embarrassing song out of it. It's baffling. I couldn't believe this shit today. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to play the rest of the video because she just keeps saying, it's all lies, it's just rumors, it's ridiculous, I can't believe you guys fell for it. But doesn't provide any kind of actual counterpoints or evidence or anything, so it's fucking useless. This is, I do think, the new worst YouTuber apology video, and that's not an easy feat to have accomplished, so that's wild. That's really about it. See ya.